Okay, we have 3.
Hey everybody, welcome to Fab Fit Friday. I'm really excited today because I get to come on with my good friend Nick from Dragonfly Creative, and we have a lot of fun things to talk about. Say hi, Nick.
Hey, how are ya? Yeah.
I know, this is fun. We are getting together for a purpose. We are both teaching at the Southeast Sewcial Escape that the Southeast ASG, which is American Sewing Guild, is putting on in September in Chattanooga, Tennessee, on the 19th to the 21st. And I did put links for that in the description below, as well as a link to Nick's email. So if you want to contact him for something, his email is there. And I mean, this is really, I'm excited to hear about what Nick has to say. So I'm just going to quickly say that I am teaching Efficient Workflow for Bodice Fitting, which is my top from shoulders to hem and then sleeve method of fitting shirts. So you can spend a day and a half doing that with me, or you can spend a day and a half with Nick. And I'm going to say it, I'm fun, and we'll be fitting. But Nick is also very fun and very creative, so I want to hear what he's doing. I mean, I know he's doing something with a jacket, but that's all I know. So I'm going to turn it over to Nick now, and he's going to tell us all the things, and he has other fun things he's going to share with us, too.
Wonderful. Thanks so much, Jen. And I actually think that sometime you and I should teach a class together.
I know. We have to do that.
Have, joint fun.
I think we should. We will.
Yeah.
We're definitely going to do that.
Pardon me. So, Jen said, we're both teaching at the Sewscape in Chattanooga in September, and we're both really excited about this. I do want to start the whole thing off by saying we are also teaching with 2 other teachers.
Yes.
And I will talk about one, Helen Haughey, who I am friends with and have known for a number of years. Helen is a couture sewing specialist, and she does absolutely amazing things with all of those beautiful fabrics that you get. We all get them, right? We buy the fabric because it's like, oh, I need it. And then we put it in our stash and we bring it out and pet it, every so often, and don't do anything with it. Helen shows us and helps us get over our fears of dealing with those absolutely gorgeous fabrics like the boucles and the silks, and she does a lot of stuff with beautiful fine linen, and it's just amazing stuff. Helen is absolutely wonderful, a dynamite teacher, and she is lots of fun if you're into the couture kind of sewing. And Jen?
Well, I'm glad you said take it out and pet it, because that's what I do with all of my fabrics that I really love, and I'm afraid to cut into them. So that's one of the downsides to teaching at an event like this. We can't take advantage of taking each other's classes, because I could use some of that myself. And also, Catherine Hay is going to be teaching with us, and she's teaching upcycling. So she has a lot of interesting takes on how to take garments in your closet or thrift store finds and flip them into something amazing. And I may, if I can get it together, I may have them on sometime before the event as well. So stay tuned for that. But there's 4 of us, and what I love is we're all so different. So there's something for everybody, right? There's people who want to do surface design and creativity, someone that wants to upcycle, someone who wants to brush up on their couture, and someone who wants to do fitting. So I think we have a good group.
We have a really, really good group. I really would love to be able to take all 3 of the other classes. That would be, prime for me. But the class that I am teaching is basically, I'm doing a jacket. I'm doing a version of this jacket, which is called the Akira jacket. And let me tilt this up just a little so you can see it. So basically, it's a modified sort of Japanese work jacket, a kimono-style jacket. And it's got built-in sort of front pockets that are really wonderful and deep. They're big enough for a phone, for all sorts of things. They aren't the stupid, like, partial pockets that they put on so many women's clothes. So we're doing that, but what we're doing is we're taking it a step beyond, and I'm showing you how to go ahead, and we're going to be doing some freeform piecing and stitching on the jacket itself. So this has been done with a linen and rayon blend, and then let me just real quick bring you over here so you can see, there it is, okay. Had to figure out where the camera was. This is the pocket piece, okay, and this is, quite honestly, the scraps from doing all the other piecing, and we've just stitched them together. So this is all actually pieced and then top stitched, and then we do the same thing just on the lapel, the collar, and then if you actually, come on girlie, turn around. Turn it around, we have a wonderful sort of funky, almost geological looking split on the back, and it goes over the shoulder. I'm going to show you how to do that so that you, one, keep the integrity of the pattern, but two, I'm going to just give you my tips and tricks for doing the improvisational piecing.
So wait a minute. So those, you actually cut the pattern apart and put those slivers of color in there?
Actually, what we do is we rough cut the pattern first, and we give ourselves a couple of inches all the way around, and then we go ahead, do whatever insertions we want to do, and then we lay out the pattern piece and cut over it.
That's incredible. That's incredible.
There's some important things to think about while we're doing that, like insertion placement, and making sure that you don't bulk up the seams too much. Is this going to work? We want to make sure that we don't have a line running, straight across our belly. Well, at least my belly.
Women have to worry about blinkers.
The girls. But that, and then we're going to do an optional back, center back piece that would go up above this area here, and it just would be sort of a traditional Japanese, almost like a crest, except what we're going to do it with is we're going to be doing a cyanotype, and I'm bringing treated fabric, and what we will do is go outside in Chattanooga in September, which I'm assuming still has a good number of leaves and bushes and foliage left. And we're going to create a cyanotype, which is a sun print, those really beautiful blue sun prints, and then we'll be able to use that as a little a center back piece, or maybe a front collar. We'll have enough to do like the back piece, maybe a little teeny one on the collar. That's not a collar.
No, that's a cuff, but that's okay.
Your wrist collar, the cuff. Yeah, it's going to be a huge fun class. So that's the class. But then some of the other things that I've been doing lately is I've been getting into more and more eco-printing. And eco-printing is the process of taking actual leaves and vegetation and printing onto fabric. And so this is actually leaves that, here we've got eucalyptus leaves and some oak. Absolutely beautiful stuff. This one is especially pretty. This one was a little wetter. It ran a teeny bit. So I got this amazing sort of shadowy outline things, and it's just really cool. But I've been doing that on, so this is like a silk noil, and then I've also been doing it on charmeuse, which is just yummy. And you'll ask what the color stripes are. I'm actually able to take, like here, this is a gorgeous one because
it is gorgeous.
eucalyptus actually prints orange. You wouldn't expect it to, but these eucalyptus actually printed orange. And all of this blue right here, the turquoise, actually a piece of vintage sari. I got a bale of saris basically at one point, and I didn't know what I was going to do with them, but you know, it was once again one of those fabric kind of things. But I ripped the saris into strips because a lot of them have holes in them. They're rotted. You know, if you actually tried to sew with them, it would be useless. But they still have all the color. And so I will layer those over the scarves or the pieces of fabric or whatever it is that I'm using. And then the color, when the piece of fabric is steamed, the color transfers.
Oh, that's so cool.
Actual target fabric. And then, so this, the jacket is underneath, but this is a camisole that I did.
Oh, that's beautiful.
In different fall colors, and then you've got some wonderful eucalyptus right here, and then you've got, this is called smoke bush or fringe bush, and I mean, it's just lovely. And the green in this is actually sari, ripped sari. So the amount of things that you can do with this particular technique are absolutely amazing. And then I've been playing with thick and dye and printing and using it as print paste, and I've been just having too much fun because I really enjoy pattern making and fitting, just as you do, Jen. But I decided that there are a lot of people who are probably way better at fitting than I am. And so I'm just going to do the pretty stuff that you can use once you get your fit good. You know, I want to teach people and show people how to make that beautiful fabric that you take out and pet. But I'm hoping that you actually use it.
That is, I am blown away. I have a neighbor who does a lot of different kind of, you know, dyeing, and she uses leaves and so on and so forth. So she'll walk by my house and we'll walk around my backyard and see if there's anything that catches her eye. You know, I had the ambrosia bush or the ambrosia tree. So she would always get those leaves because they come like, they're like a stalk, and they, you know, they made really beautiful whatever. And I also have a ginkgo tree, so the little ginkgo leaves. But that's so interesting. I have in my heart, like, anytime I get a chance to do something like what you're focusing on right now, I love that. But of course, you know, I can only do one thing at a time, so I can live vicariously through your experiences for now. Oh my goodness. We should back up and tell each other how we met. We forgot to do that in the beginning.
Oh, we were both teaching at an ASG conference, and I actually, now I remember, I think it was our mutual friend, Julianne Bramson, who said to me, and I did the same to you, she said, "You've got to meet this woman. Her name is Jen Stern, and you two would just..." And so finally, Julianne made that happen.
Yep.
Jen and I basically stood in the hallway there and talked for probably the next 45 minutes.
We did, with Katrina Walker, too.
With Katrina.
Yep. And,
you know, and just... And Julianne just sort of wandered away, sort of feeling like, my job is done here.
Well, I know, and I love Juliana. I did my bias series last year, and I used her book, Bias Blueprints.
Blueprints.
Oh, such a great book, and that red dress in the back was the result of all of my bias playing. So that was very cool, and I always love to see Juliana as well. But you know, I'm struggling now because a lot of the big events are getting canceled, or they're not doing them anymore. So we have to find creative ways to get together and see our friends from across the country, because Nick lives in Colorado and I'm in Connecticut. That's far. So that's why I was really excited we could get together today and visit and also chat with you guys. And I just want to say hi to Mary and Carla, who said hi to both of us. So this is
Hey Carla.
So this is fun. All right, so what else do you have planned? So we know you're teaching at the event with me. Are you teaching anywhere else? Are you doing any other classes right now?
Actually, I'm going directly from Jacksonville, or going directly from Chattanooga down to Jacksonville, and I'm going to be teaching at the ASG chapter in Jacksonville.
Oh, nice.
Doing this jacket again, and then I'm going to also be doing the bias cut shell, bias cut top. And that's a very popular class. That one is a pattern that Julianne Bramson originated. And then we have worked on it over the years to get it to be able to have, because you know, if you've ever tried to grade a pattern, grading a pattern is rough to begin with. You try and grade a bias cut pattern, and you're in interesting territory, especially ones that are not traditional layout. So what we worked on and finally came up with was a pattern that is actually multi-sized bias cut, and it's a two-piece pattern. Literally, you cut two pieces, not even on the fold. You cut a front, you cut a back. The way you put it together, you end up with a lovely scoop neck shell with sleeves.
Oh, cool.
That's bias cut. So it has, you know, lunchroom. And wonderful. So I'm teaching that there. But this summer, I'm sort of taking off to do more creative stuff. This coming Wednesday, I'm going to be leaving for Malta.
Malta.
My husband Rick and I are going to Malta for a week, and just to visit and look and see what it's like. And then when we come back, we're going to be doing a hut-to-hut hike in the San Juan Mountains here. I live at 7,000 feet, and the hike starts at about 10. So we'll be going anywhere between 9 and 12,000 feet for about 5 days.
Wow.
It'll be a lovely, and just staying in huts. It's not like tent camping. I mean, the huts are not glamorous by any stretch of the imagination, but they're shelter. And so I'm looking forward to that. And then, you know, after that, my next big thing is Tennessee. I've just sort of decided to take the summer off and create garments and fabric, and I'm doing a couple little quilt shows that are local, you know, and
yeah. Let's get back to the bias for a second. So you've been working on this bias top with Julianne. So what happens when you try to use that pattern, but also use your dyed fabrics? Do the dyed fabrics, like, do they act as nicely? Do they drape as nicely versus something that's not dyed? That popped in my head.
Hang on just a second.
Okay,
and
okay.
You talk for a second.
Okay, I can talk amongst myself. I can say hi to Tana. Welcome. We're having this fun chat with Nick because we're both teaching at the Southeast Sewcial Escape, and also, you know, I wanted to just visit with him. Plus, see how creative he is. Like, I really, if I could live two lives, I would do a creative side and a fitting side. I would do both, but unfortunately, I can only do one thing at a time. But I love seeing all this stuff, so I can't wait to see what he pulls out. He's probably going to show us some amazing bias garment with dyeing on it, I bet. So I'm super excited. And if anybody has any questions for Nick, please post those in the comment section.
So this one will eventually, it'll end up in as a top, but this is a piece of hand-dyed bias satin, and this is one of the bias tops.
Beautiful.
So it looks absolutely gorgeous. It hangs beautifully. It's a shell. This is actually the bias shell that we're doing. This is done, however, in a cotton foil, which is a little different.
Yep.
And then I lengthened it out to an asymmetrical tunic.
Beautiful.
Just by inserting a couple of squares into the bottom hem, that lengthened it out, gave a little more hip room. And but there's one seam right here.
Yep.
This comes here and then goes down and around the back.
Yep.
And then there's a seam that starts up here in the back, and then comes down and around and goes down the front. You can't see it because of the pattern, but it just goes right down there.
So tell us why beyond having this adding creative design details, why is it better to do that versus having traditional straight side seams?
Well, you mean as
I'm biased, yes.
Because this pattern, while it hangs on bias, ultimately is cut and sewn on the straight or cross grain.
Because
so that makes it so much easier, and the seams won't buckle and bubble because they're stable.
Yes.
You know, it's a game changer when it comes to sewing bias, because anyone who has tried to sew bias knows that, you know, it's about 15 minutes in and you're losing the will to live.
Yes.
It's just, yeah, it can be not fun.
So Mary, well, first, Julie said she loves your dyed fabrics, and then Mary said she likes the jacket pattern. Is that like available for people to purchase, or tell us the deal about that jacket pattern?
Yeah, just email me.
Okay, so Mary, you could email Nick and get all the information about the jacket pattern.
And the pattern is called the Akira jacket, Akira.
Okay. He did a lot of cool stuff with that, so it is very cool.
Yeah, but those are all, this is one of the dresses that Julianne made, and we made this out of a hand-dyed, so it's a cowl neck. It's the same dress you've gotten back there, Jen.
Mm-hmm.
We inserted the cowl into the front of it, but it's basically that bias too, once again.
That's beautiful.
And all done with a hand-dyed rayon.
So, like, even when you put leaves and do that kind of printing that doesn't affect the bias, like it still will flow?
No, because this...
Oh, that's right. It's right there.
That's a bias cut.
Yeah, see how cool that is? Well, because you know, sometimes printed fabric, the print on the fabric will affect the drape.
No, because this acts more like a dye than it does a paint or a traditional printed thing. Because paint will affect the drape,
mm-hmm.
but dye becomes part of the actual fiber molecules.
Okay.
So it doesn't affect the drape.
Oh, that makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah, they drape the exact same way.
That is very cool. See, I learned something new. Janice says, hey, good morning, finally caught you live. And Ed says, hey, Desi's here, late, sorry. That's okay, you can always come at any time. I'm here with Nick, and we're talking about his class at the Southeast Sewcial Escape, and he's telling us about all of his other creativity. We've looked at a lot of beautiful dyed fabric so far. And do you want to talk about your shop? What's happening with that?
Actually, it's interesting because honestly, I just closed my shop. I live in a very, very small town. We have 1,200 people. And while a number of us identify as artists, we have 3,000 total in the, 4,000 total in the county. And we have one stoplight in the entire county. So, I mean, it's small. So I figured out that I really don't have the population here to keep an open shop. So what I do, I just closed it back down as an open to the public everyday shop. And I hold little retreats here and occasional classes. I will do dye classes for people who want to, and fit classes, basic sewing classes, just whatever I'm requested to. I'll then open up the shop and say, come on in. Otherwise, it is my studio. And this is where I come and create and sew and dye and print and do all of that stuff. And it's absolutely wonderful to be able to have that kind of a dedicated space where I can actually sew and dye stuff in the same building. I don't have to worry so much about separating things out.
That is a challenge. I'm in the master bedroom of my house, and I don't know, I think I might get more work done if I didn't have my studio in my house, but I haven't gotten to that level of budget yet. But I could see we're having a separate space could be very helpful, and also, you're not trying to do the laundry, right?
I was going to say, because you can actually shut your door
Yes.
to the studio and say, I'm at work. And it takes a little bit of training, in the household. That it's like, when the door is shut, I'm at work, and you don't bother me like I was at an office.
Right, yeah. I try to pretend. I walk in this door, and I'm working.
Yeah.
Until my husband calls me from his downstairs office.
I know. When are you coming home?
I know, honey.
Are you making lunch?
I know.
Yeah, I know. I get that too. My husband's office is actually right across the street. So it's like every once in a while he'll just pop in and it's like, you hungry? And it's like, yeah, okay, let's go. But that's the other advantage of being able to have that studio there is you can just sort of walk out of it, shut the door, and say, I'll be back.
Yes.
Yeah, it's nice. So what else have you been doing fit-wise?
Well, I'm using, I'm not taking a break, but I am recalibrating how I'm going to offer things, because I'm going to be starting a new online sewing community, which I'm very excited about. And the first part of that is going to be Jay Stern Designs YouTube Insider, which is going to give you access to my complete catalog of videos that you can access via QR codes and bit.ly links.
That's amazing. You have tons of videos.
I do. I have over 600.
Okay, yeah, that's tons.
But here's the thing, sometimes I can't find what I'm looking for on my own channel. So I think this will be really helpful for people. And while I'm enjoying spending time with you, Nick, right? And on a Fab Fit Friday, I enjoy spending time with all of my, subscribers who come and watch me. I can't see subscribers. We can't see who's watching, right? So part of that will be I'll have, a monthly meetup for my subscribers, and then I can actually meet them too. So that's really my number one exciting thing for me about this coming up. So I'm hoping to roll that out by the end of the month, and then I'll be adding more things later. So I'm focusing on that because I'm trying to concentrate how I do things, because right now I'm over here teaching this thing, and then I'm over here doing that thing, and a lot of times it's one student at a time, which I love, but also it makes it hard for me then to get other things done, like rebranding my patterns. I'm trying to do that as well because my packaging sucks, and I've been talking about that now for 2 years, so I'm going to be working on that. And this is kind of exciting. My friend Trisha from Creative Costume Academy is offering her first ever major sewing event called Pattern Con, which is like Comic-Con, but for pattern nerds. And that's actually going to be the second week in August. So I think I'm going to drive to North Carolina because that's where it's going to be, because I'm going to have a booth there. But I'm excited to be on the inaugural, show for that. And I'm actually flying in from Kentucky to Chattanooga because I'm teaching for the Master Volunteer Garment Group with the University of Kentucky. I do that every year. And that's I give back. I don't charge for that, and that's I love to give back to these people because they donate their time to teach sewing in their communities. So that's one of my favorite events. So I'm going to be doing that before I get to the social thing. And so it's just all sorts of busy. I'm just trying to, be more, I don't want to say focused, because I have been focused, but, I'm just trying something different, I guess, is what I'm going to say.
Different, but it also sounds like you're trying to find a different way to connect more meaningfully.
Yes. I think that's the number one reason why I'm doing it.
Which is something that I'm really reassessing right now too, is it's like I want to connect and I want to do it on a more meaningful level, and trying to figure out how to do that is challenging right now.
It is.
like the expos and everything, like you said, they're just getting fewer and further between. Not as many people are attending. And so, trying to figure out ways for people like you and I, who are very solidly garment sewers, to actually reach out and share and learn.
Yeah.
It is really important. And so good luck, and I will definitely be watching you. I just wrote down PatternCon, so who knows?
I'm putting patterncon.com in the chat because Kitty and Art asked about that, so I'm going to put that in the chat. Patterncon.com is where you can go get all the information. It is open to the public. I know there are still spaces left. She has, I think, 12 teachers. So there's a variety of classes that are being offered, and they're all, garment and pattern related. I think it's going to be an amazing event. Mary says, both of my sons work from home. Their families just adjust to the fact they're working, not at their beck and call, and it works. So you can find that balance. You just have to, like you said, practice at it and get, you have to get a system.
I find a squirt bottle works well.
Yes, squirt bottle. Well, I always yell out my window to the dogs, do you want me to squirt you? And that gets them to lay right back down. Tana says group meetings are less common now. Why do you think that is?
I think right now, I think during COVID, a lot of things changed. It became more difficult, and then I think travel costs went up oftentimes during COVID, and I don't know that they've come back down a whole lot. So it's harder to travel. People are watching their pennies, and we sort of got used to doing things online and with classes online, and where I am, groups are still fairly strong. We have 3 quilt guilds in the next town over, and I belong to a Weavers Guild and the Quilt Guild, and I don't have an ASG chapter near me. It's in Colorado Springs or Denver, and that's minimum 5 hours. So that's a little more than a drive than I want to do. But
I think the cost of hotel, like renting the space at a hotel, got more expensive too. I think the cost of running these events for the people offering them might have gotten more expensive too. But even before COVID, though, I will say, like, I used to teach at the Novi Sew Expo, that, the one that Janet Prey ran.
Yeah, I taught at that for years.
And it was wonderful. It was one of my favorite events. And I can just remember towards the end, you could, like, hear some of the vendors grumbling that, the attendance starts to go down. And then it just becomes, maybe a decision of, well, is it worth it? And is it viable for people? And is it... But I also feel like if live events go away completely, everyone's going to be sad. Like, we have to protect live events. So that's why I will always offer live events, and I know Nick does as well, and I'll teach at live events because, you can do a lot on a screen. Like, I've gotten very good at teaching on a screen, and I've gotten very good at fitting through a screen. But there's just something about getting together with people in person. I don't want that to go away.
Like, I know you teach at Houston.
Yeah, I love Houston.
Yeah, and that would be something that I would enjoy doing, I think, and because I love going to Houston,
and then we could hang out.
It's just amazing. Yeah, we could definitely hang out. Yeah.
This year I'm sad because I'm teaching Monday, Tuesday. Trisha doesn't get there till Wednesday when I'm flying out, and then my other friends are later in the week even. So I'm treating myself to the Hilton. I'm going to stay right at the Hilton where I can just walk across the Sky Bridge and do my classes because I'm teaching 8 to 6, 2 days in a row. So I'm going to zip in, teach 2 days, and zip back out. That's what I'm doing this year.
Yeah, and sometimes that's just how you have to do it,
Yeah.
But it's still fun.
Oh, yeah, no. Last year we stayed at a hotel that wasn't there, and for me it was nice to have that little walk to and from. And that was also nice. Plus it forced us to find restaurants along the way to eat at. So that was also fun. So, I mean, this year will be fun too, don't get me wrong. I love Houston, but you definitely have to be there next year. I'm going to bug you about that.
Okay. Well, I've stayed at Airbnbs behind the convention center a couple of times, and there's some really nice little ones there.
Yep,
and it is nice to be able to just take a walk and walk to and from, your home base.
It is.
And I just loaded the wagon in the van, and I would, anything that I needed from one way or another, I would just take my little wagon.
But at Houston, the people who run the Houston Quilt Festival treat faculty like family. So when you teach at Houston, you can ship your stuff there ahead of time, or you can leave all your stuff there in the teacher luggage room, whatever they call it, and they don't charge you extra to ship stuff ahead of time. And so I packed my 2 big rolly suitcases. I had one for this day and this day, and I left it in there, and I did the other day. So you don't even have to have a wagon.
No, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
Mostly for me, it was when I was vending.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's, my God, the vendor hall there is...
restock things and,
Yep.
And for anyone who hasn't been to Houston, the quilt market, it's absolutely insane and should be experienced at least once.
And I don't see that slowing down. That's the one show that I feel is holding its own, and it really isn't shrinking. And I also feel like the garment side is growing. Like it is at the Houston Quilt Festival, but there are a lot of us now teaching there garment-based classes, and I really love seeing that because, that gives us a space to teach in, and I think a lot of quilters want to sew garments too.
Yeah.
Crossover.
They're finally getting what we've been saying all these years. It's like, if you can cut that fabric apart and piece it back together as accurately as you do, you can certainly sew a bust dart.
That's right. Probably better than I can. I mean, just a secret between you and me.
Yes.
Sewing is the least favorite thing that I do.
Oh, mine is cutting.
Oh, I hate sewing. I love drafting. I love designing it. I love trying it out to see if it works. But then when I have to actually sew one that's pretty and it looks professional, that's torture for me. I mean, I can do it, but ugh.
See, I enjoy that part, but I really hate cutting stuff out. It just feels like, way too much of a job.
Now, how do you cut things out? What do you use to cut with?
I actually have a big cutting table. I have a 4 foot by 8 foot cutting table that I had built taller because you and I are both tall.
Yep.
And I have to have a higher cutting table or my back is wrecked.
So scissors or rotary cutter?
Yes, both. I use the rotary cutter for the long lines, and I use scissors around the corners and the notches and that kind of stuff. But I think I would have quit sewing years ago if it weren't for a rotary cutter.
I'm almost a totally rotary cutter, but then if I can show back here, see back there I have my big Kai scissors, my 11-inch Ginger scissors. I have the Guggenheim with an N, Guggenheim scissors. And I'm saying Guggenheim because when I did my cool tools on Guggenheim scissors, I said Guggenheim, and I got a whole flood of comments. It's Guggenheim with an N, so I always thank people for telling me that I pronounced it wrong, but those are amazing scissors. So I try to, I love having nice scissors, but I'll tell you, they don't get very much use. They sit back there, and I do use them sometimes, but I'm mostly rotary cutter.
Yeah, I am too, except on some of the things like, I don't know, sometimes fine silk and, because the silk can be actually way tougher than cotton or rayon or, a little fussy. But other than that, I love my rotary cutters.
Okay, so we have some questions. Let me take a thing here. So I'm just going to read up a bunch of things. Victoria said she wishes that we could have some teachers come to Virginia. Ed says one-on-one teaching, i.e. small groups teaching, is so effective, which I agree with. I think that is.
I do.
Yeah.
I love that. 5 or 6 people, and I'm in heaven.
Yep. Mary says, "Oh, Jen, I should live closer. I would do your sewing for you." And I will say, I know Mary is an amazing sewist because I've seen her work. I wish you did too, Mary. There's so many reasons why we should be close. She also likes to hike. Kitty Ann Art says, yes, hate tracing, cutting, just want to sew and wear, LOL. So there's a vote for you. Julie says, cutting is also my least favorite part of sewing. There's another one. And Victoria says, I'm with Nick. I don't like cutting out either. I don't mind the cutting because I can do it pretty fast now. Like, I have to admit, I've gotten very good with the rotary cutter, and I haven't cut myself in a very long time, which there was a period of time where I was visiting the emergency room every now and then because I would nick my finger, but
yeah.
But Kitty is a scissor junkie too, bought Guggenheim's based on your tool tip. Well, excellent.
You have the little 5-inchers? The little...
I don't.
They're mega.
Do you need those? I have. What do I have? I have... Somebody sent me...
The Ginger, like, Taylor point scissors.
Yep.
But these little... my friend Ruth Simswowski pointed... They're about that long, except they're heavier. And they are absolutely wonderful.
These... I'm looking around, my table's a hot mess, but I also have... Do you know Heritage Cutlery?
Yeah.
They make spring-loaded snips. I have those. Okay. And Pat sent me these. Her husband actually etched J. Stern on the blade for me.
How nice!
I know. So I love... And see, my big hand fits. I love my big hand. So that's maybe why I don't like scissors so much, because I have such giant man hands. I do. Yeah, you do too.
But yeah, these little 5-pointers. I just did a Santa Claus outfit this last year. We have a professional Santa here in town. I mean, like, he goes to Santa school. He's like pro Santa. And he finally was ready for his own. Instead of renting an outfit, he wanted his own. So we designed his own. So I had these little 5-inch scissors that were the Guggenheim, and they're little teeny black, but they've got big handles and a really hefty little nice blade. But doing all the felted wool and the melton and the fur and all those layers, it just right through.
I think I feel another cool tool coming on.
Yeah, pretty much.
I do those on Mondays. Whenever I have a cool tool, I do a video on it, and it's kind of fun. And I've been teasing my audience because I've been trying to organize my patterns. You know, I have a lot of patterns.
Yeah.
And so I made these basically a vinyl envelope, the kind you would make a project bag out of. So I sewed it just, along the bottom and halfway up the side, and they lay flat in there, but they're in a pile, so I want to hang them up. So I think I have the ultimate way to do that, and I was going to share that 2 weeks ago, but then I realized, and I think you can see it if I just tip this way and tip up. See that cork? That cork, I thought that was going to be my answer a while back, and the guy doing my bathroom took these giant screws and put 2 or 3 in each 12-inch strip, and then I found out the cork was too thin and it didn't hold the patterns. So I was going to share my fabulous new thing for hanging, and then I realized I had to take the cork off, and then when I took the cork off, it was a disaster. But I'm going to share that during Cool Tools this week, so I'm going to stop talking about my whole disaster with my cork. But why am I talking about that? I don't remember. Nick, why am I talking about that?
I don't know.
I got on a tangent.
It was a cool tool.
Because it was a cool tool. That's right. It was a cool tool.
Yeah. No, I'm still sort of old school. I punch holes in the pattern and hang them up. But I went to garment. I went to fashion design school, and that's how we do it in the industry. And
yeah, well, I have the pattern punch and I have the pattern hooks, but my patterns were curling and I didn't have enough oak tags to keep them flat, so and they would rip. But that is the way to do it. Don't get me wrong, that is the way to do it. I was just looking for a way where I could store the ones and protect them in the vinyl when I wasn't using them, and then have easy access to the ones I use all the time. So that's what I'm hoping to achieve. We'll see.
Nice.
Well, so you store yours on hooks. I do want to say there's another serious sewing tool that we haven't talked about yet, and Tana says that she's a pro at using a seam ripper. Like, how do you feel about those seam rippers?
I don't like normal seam rippers. I'm one of those that make people absolutely terrified because I use a single edge razor blade.
So does my neighbor. It scares the bejesus out of me. Have you tried the
Acto.
Have you tried? This is a safety tool. Have you tried this, Nick? It's the Kai seam remover.
That looks like a little razor.
It is a little razor, and guess what I figured out? You could buy this for $6.99 as a Kai seam remover, or you can get the exact same thing for $2.99 for 3 of them on Amazon. But this is amazing. You just go, zoop, and it works.
It won't cut the fabric.
And it doesn't scare me because it's safety. See?
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is my answer to the straight razor.
Okay. I'm going to Walgreens.
Any brand will work, I will tell you. And it made me crazy when I did it as a cool tool, and I purchased one from my friend. Do you know Kate from the Confident Stitch in Missoula, Montana?
Yeah.
I love her, and I love her shop. I haven't gotten there in person yet, but I purchased this from her shop, And then as I was looking for links for it, I found it on Amazon, and I ordered the exact. It has a little white bubbles and everything on it. It's the exact same one. For $2.99, you get 3. So.
Yeah.
Or if you go to Marshall's, or if you go to like one of those home goods kind of
stuff. Walmart, Marshall's, Target.
Any of those kind of places, you can get these for next to no money, and these work really, really good. So.
Yeah.
Oh, Kitty says, yep, those things are for trimming facial hair such as mustaches and eyebrows. See, it can be dual purpose. You could do a little, a little...
Yeah, no, my eyebrows are now venturing into as an older man, they're venturing into the realm of power tools. Yeah.
My first daughter, Anna, when she was born, it looked like she had one eyebrow, and my brother taught her to say unibrow. Don't tell her I told that story. But she now gets them professionally shaped, so she has 2 brows now. But when she was little, they were very bushy, and they weren't quite connected, but they kind of looked like they might be.
Yeah. Hanging patterns on hangers, Hana. Yeah, I do that when I can't lay hands on my pattern hooks. I just hang them through the holes on a hanger.
That's a good idea.
Or sometimes, like, pants hangers are good for bigger patterns, like dress patterns or skirt patterns. Mm-hmm. Long pants hangers are great for that.
Yes, that is a good idea. I love hearing all these ideas because what I'm envisioning is, like, the thing I'm going to be installing on my wall now that I've cleaned that up, I could maybe combine some of these things. So I always love to hear how people store their patterns because that's one of my biggest yuck balls in my studio because I have patterns everywhere. I'm rolled up over there. There's a pile over there. I've got them all over my table. I've got them back there. I've got patterns everywhere. And then I spend an hour looking for the pattern I want to work with, and that's awful.
And then if you roll them up and keep them in nice little tubes, a little thing, you have to, even if you write on the outside of them, you still end up having to unroll them.
Mm-hmm.
The last time you looked at them, you rolled it up wrong, and you covered up what the label was. Yeah, no, I get that. Yeah, pattern management.
Yes, that's a big one.
Is a hard one.
I know.
Yeah, it's a hard one. What do you think in terms of? I know a lot of people are sitting on the fence, like with dress form kind of things. What do you think about dress forms? I mean, I know you have several, and I've got at least 2 back here, and I've got another 3 in the studio.
Well, I mean, in all honesty, my world changed when I got my ditto form. And my first ditto form was very close, but I wore the wrong bra. So I wore this perky t-shirt bra, so when I got it, I put it on the table, and first I cried because I looked at myself, I'm like, I cannot be that shape. But then I measured myself, and I actually was that shape. But because I wore the wrong bra, and then I always wore sports bras, every day, everything I designed would pull from my shoulder to my bust because it was projecting too far. So for me, having a dress form that is me is game changer, because that right there, I drape that on my ditto form, and if I put it on me, it fits almost identically. So for me, but then also if I'm designing things, I have that French European back there, over there. That French European dress form is, in my opinion, the most high quality standard form you can buy. And I know Joe does do, padding service to get it to be more like your shape, which is a very good thing too. And I actually taught a class showing how to do that for Pattern Review last week, which was a lot of fun. So having a good quality standard size form, I would use to design new things I might put in my pattern collection. I can't use my ditto form for that because I'm a linebacker and I'm a G cup, and I've got all these specific body shapes that would throw me out of the norm, which would make it not nice for people to fit them to themselves. So I like them for two different reasons.
Well, and that's why we teach fitting classes as well.
Yep.
Because I designed a good number of patterns, and most of them are for women.
Mm-hmm.
And so I actually have French European forms as well. And as far as sizing goes, I know that Joe upgraded the sizing. So it's not the former little teeny sizing. He's upgraded it to closer to what a standard actual female form is.
Mm-hmm.
Since the 50s and 60s, all of us have gotten thicker waists. And
okay, I'm going to show you. I have a vintage woof. Let me just show you what it looks like. Now, she's not in good condition because, I don't know how to restore her, but this is 1950. Look at those. Look at that waistline.
The waist is itty bitty tiny.
Yeah, see that and the hips. That's 1950 woof.
What size is that? Do you know?
It's a size 9.
A size 9.
Yes, and it is patent pending for the collapsible shoulder. And someone named her Estelle.
Well, we like that.
We
Hi,
do.
Estelle.
I really like her. I have to figure out how I can stop this from happening. But she's in a little bit of rough shape. But I keep her on my, on my shelf behind me. I use her stand is on my ditto form. So, but anyway, that's 1950, Nick. There you go.
Yep. Well, and what we're tending toward now is a little bit more athletic shapes.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Thicker waist, more muscled hips and thighs, more muscled shoulders and arms, and so.
See, this is close. I mean, it's not exact. This is where I have the problem. I need a lot more here, but really, and I need more here.
Well, yeah, okay, but it gives us, and they have butts now that they didn't have before. Yep. It was just a flat.
Yeah, no, I really like this dress form.
I end up using mine a lot.
Well, do you have a man form?
I'm sorry?
Do you have a man form? That's your...
No, I don't yet. I've been thinking about talking to Miss Ditto.
Yes, Miss Ditto makes man forms.
Yes, and getting one for me because you have a G cup up here and I have a G cup down here. That's called gut.
Yeah, I have a G cup down there too. I have a butt in the front and a butt in the back.
Yeah.
That's what I got.
That's something, because that's something else I have been doing and want to do more of so for myself.
It really, I have to say that when I was working on that, I did a cross, like a cross bodice, with empire waist. I took apart an Ann Taylor dress. The pieces were so gigantic that I thought I'd have enough fabric to cut out the skirt, a shorter skirt from the maxi leg skirt, but I mean, the amount of fabric I needed to cover this and go across, I had to introduce a new fabric because I used too much yardage for my bust. But having, being able to put it on there and then see what it's doing and tweak it and fine tune it was so much easier than running back and forth in front of the mirror. So, but speaking of mirrors, Nick, do you use 2 mirrors when you do fitting?
Yeah. You mean for people?
Yeah, so like you could see what you're doing in the front while you're doing the back and vice versa. That's a huge thing too. Like some people don't realize, like if you only have 1 mirror, you have to twist around to see, or you have to take a picture of the back. But if you can kitty corner your mirrors, and you could be adjusting the front and then seeing what's going on in the back.
That's a great idea.
I mean, that's been a huge game changer for me.
Well, and I didn't even think about that, because usually when I'm fitting someone, I'm fitting someone else.
Well, exactly. Then you don't need it.
But what I oftentimes do is, while I am fitting them, I put them in front of a mirror. Mm-hmm. So that I can see what's happening in the back at the same time, so that I don't do something in the front that's going to inadvertently cause a in the back.
That happens.
Yeah. So, yeah. What
Oh
a brilliant idea.
I know. Well, when Gap changed its decor, we purchased a double-sided full-length mirror on a huge casters, like on a base. That was in my garage for 6 years. Finally, I said to my husband, can you bring that up here? So I have a mirror on my door, and then I can move the other one, so now I can see what I'm doing. And it really has made life a lot easier when I'm not, I can't fit pants so much on here because I do have legs, but it's not anatomically correct through there. So I can get my rise and stuff, but I do pants in front of the mirror usually.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, pants you have to actually do on you.
I know. Well, Victoria brought up a good point. She said she loves her bootstraps, pants form. I need to do some serious alterations, though. I've lost 5 inches in the waist, and I need to measure my hips and thighs. Yeah, well, congratulations on that. But also, that is the thing. Like, once you make something, I'm very interested in trying to maybe get that bootstrap leg pattern in my size and connect it onto my here to see how that could work.
Okay.
Oh, and Kitty says the form looks like the one my mom had in the 60s. I used it when I made my first involved garment in junior high prom dress. Memories. Oh.
Aww.
You must have been talking about the wolf dress form. I know.
How fun.
It is fun.
No, that's great. Okay, yeah. So, and Carla was talking about putting hangers with the binder clip.
Oh, yeah.
Using binder clips reduces extra hole in pattern paper.
That's another great idea.
The hole in pattern paper because I'm using oak tag, but I can understand where that could be a problem. And yeah, so binder clips or pants hangers.
Yeah, those are great ideas, Carla.
Yeah, thanks, Carla.
I know. So, are we not missing any comments? I hope we're not. I'm trying to look at them on my little phone. So
no, I'm trying to keep up with them on the phone too.
Okay, so make sure we don't forget anybody. We love you all. We don't want to make sure we didn't miss anybody. This has been really, really fun. Do you have anything else you want to say before we wrap things?
No, but I would love to see some of y'all in Tennessee if you're able to go, because it's going to be a good time. And I worked with the Atlanta chapter, and they are absolutely wonderful, wonderful people. And, just nice. ASG is just good people.
They are good people. I always have wonderful experiences. Those are my favorite, like, if someone calls me or emails me and says, hey, do you want to teach for our group? And it's ASG, I'm like, absolutely.
Yeah.
So much fun, my favorite.
Let's make it happen.
Yep.
Yeah. That's sort of what I am. It's like, sure, just tell me when and how.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, so make sure you check the links below, because Nick's email is in the description below, as well as a link to the Southeast Sewcial Escape, so you can find out more information about both of those things.
Yeah, because someone was just saying I want to know about Nick's jacket.
We'll tell him again.
This is the Akira jacket. Both the jackets that are behind me are the same. This one is the one that I'm going to be teaching at the so spectacular
Social escape. We're escaping.
Social escape.
That's right.
anyway, this is going to be it, and it's basically a modified Japanese work jacket. I modified it so that it fits women better. There's a manipulated bust dart in there somewhere that you will never see, and you will never. And it's got pockets and long sleeves. You can make it short sleeved. You could actually make it into a vest if you wanted to. It'd be very cute.
And you can buy it from him if you email him.
Buy it for me. It's the Akira jacket. Okay?
Yay, that's exciting. All right. All right. Does anybody else have any last minute things they want to talk about before we sign off? Just let us know. We'll hang out here for a minute. Oh, Ed, it's okay. He said he missed the start. Sorry. No. We love to talk about things, and even when I'm by myself, I'll repeat myself, like if new people come in. So no worries there.
I think that's part of our age.
That's right. Sometimes we repeat things and we didn't realize we repeated them. So it's all good. We're just happy you're here. And, as always, I just want to thank everybody for hanging out with us, because it's always the highlight of my week. And I have to say this is a special one because I got to hang out with Nick, too, which is amazing. And we have to make a joint thing work, Nick.
Yeah, let's do.
We're going to make a joint class.
Okay, cool.
We're doing it. So stay tuned for that. We'll figure out how we can fit that into our schedules, because we would have so much fun together. Oh my goodness.
God, that would be, yeah. Okay. Danger.
Amazing. All right, so we are going to sign off now, because I like to say this is where I start to ramble when I'm by myself. So we're gonna sign off now. But thank you guys for coming. And if you have any more comments or questions, you post those below, because I will keep an eye on this. It's live, but you can always watch the replays if you missed any. And if there's any new comments, I will answer. So thank you for coming. Check out Nick's class. It's going to be super fun, and yay.
As is yours. I'm looking forward to the fitting.
Yeah, I
workflow especially. That's
yeah, no, I love it. But I want it to shine on you today, Nick. I'm sorry.
But that's fine. Thank you so much.
You're so welcome. All right, so let me figure out how I can end this without making it really... Ugh. All right, I'm going to wave goodbye, and then we're going to end. Bye-bye.
Thank you, guys. Good seeing you.
Okay, so... end. Okay, so that...